discussion on the bill? Representative Pearson.
Thank you, Speaker and sponsor. Appreciate the overall intention of what you've articulated. I'm just going to read for folks and for folks watching what it currently says as it relates to the ethics that you'd be deleting, that a teacher shouldn't violate a constitutional right or a student related to these ethics on the basis of race, color, creed, disability, sex, national origin, marital status, political or religious beliefs, family, social or cultural background, or sexual orientation. And this would just substitute it just to say on any basis. And I think a change that would really make this much better is if you put and. But I do believe there's something really powerful about the enumeration that's articulated here, especially, and you would understand this as an attorney, especially as you think about protected classes and making sure that it is clear for everyone who reads this language, everyone who is a teacher, but everyone in the community that might be suing or might be upset about some of the things that a teacher might do that is antithetical to these ethics, having those enumerated in this way, I think are actually important in a time that we are living in where folks don't want to pay attention to the multiplicity of diversity within our communities. We need to make sure that our teachers, and all of us for that matter, are held to a high ethic that does not discriminate, that is not derogatory, that is not offensive, and that does not harm people based on these different identities that people have, whether that be their sexual orientation, to their religious beliefs, to their marital status, or anything like that. And so by you just striking all of the things that are enumerated, instead of saying all of these things and on any other basis, I really do believe that it cheapens what the intent and the effect here is of having all of these listed for teachers, but also should be in each and every one of us as something that we understand. And so for that reason, I don't believe that I'll be able to support this legislation. Thank you, Speaker.
Representative Bolso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Representative, my only comment is that I think we can all agree that no teacher should ever treat a student unfairly on any basis. I mean, you are correct that if we look at federal law, you look specifically at Section 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, you'll see 5 different protected classes there: race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. But given that the statute over time has expanded to include 13 separate bases, it seems easiest to go ahead and have it state what we all agree to, that no teacher should ever, on any basis, treat a student unfairly, and that's what the bill does.
Representative Pearson.
Yep. And again, on this sponsor, we completely agree. But again, I think there is something powerful to the enumeration, particularly when children, I think there was even legislation that we passed. And so I wonder your understanding of this that allowed for a teacher to not use a child's preferred pronouns. And so if that is viewed as discrimination on any basis, obviously that was related to sexual orientation too. How does this interact with that legislation? Because that would be discrimination against an individual as well.
Representative Bolso.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There is no overlap. When you read the rest of this part of the section 10 of the Teacher Code of Ethics, it deals specifically with the teacher excluding a student from a particular activity or denying a student a particular benefit or granting a student a particular advantage. So an issue of what you call a student by way of pronouns has no overlap with this particular section of the Code of Ethics.
Representative Pearson.
Thank you so much. As I understand it, and again, you can go back and look at this as well, the Code of Ethics also mentions the constitutional rights of students being protected. I think it's number 4 in the Code of Ethics. And if you think about number 14 of our Constitution, the constitutional amendment, the 14th Amendment, and the infringement that could be happening by students not being called their preferred names or their preferred pronouns that they were being asked by a teacher, I completely see the overlap in how a teacher could be violating, in fact, even this legislation, any basis instances of discrimination that would be occurring. And so that's something I think we need to consider. You probably want to think about a little bit more. But this legislation, again, not mentioning sexual orientation, race, and all these other things that we know are protected statuses and classes, instead of just adding and any other basis, really sends the wrong signal, I think, as it relates to protecting our students. And so I'm still against the legislation.
Representative McKinney.